So, all right. So, do you want me to continue or I should rewind back?
Summarize from the beginning. Just
Okay. So now that we're on record, let me just summarize. So yeah, I started my PhD at University of Salford in 2019. And when I came on board, actually, the society, the school has the policy that you need to have 10 registered students at least before you can have a registered society. So when I
yes.
came on board, everybody don't really care, but I just realized we have the number and we can actually achieve a lot with that number. So I started registration and we got the association on board. And then we elected the first president to stabilize the society. And then I came on board as the president. And during my tenure, I achieved the best society of the year, which is, I think, the first time in history for the Nigerian society to get that award. We got that award, and we were able to elect the student union president, from our own. And then that has been the trend during my time in Salford. Every year we have the Nigerian society member as our SU president. So
Wow.
I was talking about the challenges. So many people coming to the UK, they're coming with the mindset that I've made it, I've left the country, blah blah blah, only for you to come and face your first challenge is the issue of the accommodation issue. And I know somebody who came to the UK, the cold, and she misplaced her passport, her BRP, and everything. So automatically, you cannot progress. It was really a bitter experience, and so many of them people come and face a lot of challenges. So it's just for us to know that life is a process. It's not because you're coming to the UK, it means this is the end of any suffering in your life. You're coming here, you are starting afresh. So you have to come with the mindset that I'm building. It's not about I've made it. It's the mindset that I'm building. I think that will help us a lot, and it will ease the hardship because so many people are regretting. I know somebody, I think just a month ago, is telling me that if the school can give him back his deposit, he's going back because he's really suffering. So yeah, and then the because I have limited time, I have to summarize everything. Um, so after all this achievement we have gotten in the society, I discussed with my friend, the likes of Dr. Alwell. He was that time the NSS president of the University of Glasgow, and there is Scholastica. She is the president of the University of West of England. We talked about why don't we have a forum, something that can harmonize. If we have a larger body, we'll come together and see if we can achieve something, in a larger ground. So we come up with the idea of the Nigerian Student Society Presidential Forum. And we started by inviting our friends that we know are presidents. Like for me, I invited the president of Manchester University, president of Manchester Metropolitan University, president of Sheffield University, president of Bradford University. They are all my friends. I invited them to the forum, and then Dr. Alwe invited his own Scholastica. We end up having a forum, and we now elected a chairperson, to chair that particular forum, and which we will have John there. And then we ask them, okay, now we have achieved what we want to achieve. Please, you guys should find a way to sustain this because we'll keep on bringing on board. So if you are the president, when someone is elected, you bring him on board, and then they conduct election, or maybe any means they want to elect the chairperson, and then we continue the process. And this is what we have achieved so far, and this is what gave birth to the presidential forum. In summary, yeah, this is what I would say. Yeah.
That's so wonderful and so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't what you started that time, I can't underestimate and I can't understate overstate, so to say,
Yeah.
what it has
It even it,
achieved. And then of course, we are not counting our CV yet. Like someone will say, there is still more work to do. And so we employ you to continue to, you didn't start this only to leave it to others. You will still need more of your experience in this. And of course, like the experience you just shared, many are still facing that challenge till tomorrow. And with the more coordinated and the more united we are, the easier those problems are resolved. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, most welcome.
Yeah. Oh, do we have John here? Mr. John and Mustafa? Okay. Maybe we should go to Europe then. I would like to call on my governor. That's another person who started the Nigerian youths in Europe who are trying to, while Dr. Ibrahim and Dr. Owell and the likes were coordinating, trying to build Nigerian in the UK. Someone also is coordinating Nigerian in the Europe. So please, what are your challenges? Please first let us know you. Of course, I know you, and then everybody knows you. But there are still people who don't know you yet. So for the sake of those who don't, please tell us about you in the next 1 or 2 minutes, about you. What are your
Yeah,
challenges and what has been the effect of
yeah.
the
Good day, everyone. My name is Collins Osazai Dausa, the Governor National Youth Council of Nigeria Europe chapter. Although it's a combination of Europe and the United Kingdom, so it's not really easy. I think we have done our best by bringing National Youth Council, which I feel or I believe everybody here did their youth call at home before coming, so you know the objective of National Youth Council. According to the last speaker, I so much like what you guys did by bringing the Nigerian President Forum together. Well, my question is that after Nigeria President Forum in UK, what next? So if all
Do you
the
want me to respond
knowledge,
to that?
yeah,
No,
or
no,
if
he's
I'm
just
still
writing,
talking,
he's just asking a rhetoric question.
yes, if
Not to
after
answer.
if after bringing all the Nigerians, president, student presidents, or ex-president together, then what next? How do we invade our country? How do we impart this knowledge on our youth right there at home? That is another question. So, because I feel after students, you are supposed to pass to National Youth Council. I have done my best by bringing it to Europe. It
Mm,
was a huge sacrifice.
mm,
Now I've succeeded in uh, making them to implement it or to endorse in their constitution by reviewing the constitution because of the Diaspora National Youth Council. So just the way you guys came together to form the President Forum, I will also employ you to come together. Let
wow,
us also work on the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Europe region.
wow, wow.
So as
That's
time goes on, we'll have a governor in America. We might also have in the UK. But how do we really come together and how do we show some experience, or let me say experience, or what we have gathered here?
mm, mm.
Because no matter the situation, home is home.
Yes, yes.
No
That's
matter
what.
how you guys came together, the even for example, a passport is on the computer. It can be erased anytime. We still need to go back there. The situation there is not friendly,
Mm,
and we need some we need knowledge. We need to make some impact. We need to tell them what we are seeing here. Not that these guys inherited it from wherever they're coming from. No, they
mm.
started from somewhere. How do we really go about it?
Thank you so much.
You are future leaders. So
Thank you
how do
so
we
much.
really lead our people?
Thank you so much. Even talking about sorry, Dr. Ibrahim, even talking about the US of a thing, there is someone, I don't know whether he's here already, from the US, and we're already linking up to the US because our country needs serious fixing. We didn't come here, just like Dr. Ibrahim said, people come with the aim of Japa, of course, we are here. As Japan, but we are not Japan to continue to abandon Nigeria, and that's the proper purpose of this. First, we establish ourselves in the place of residence, then we extend it but how do we do that? Unite with not just Nigerians, all Africans, because the problem is not only Nigeria, it pervades all Africa. And that's why someone from US as well will be on the call. I don't know whether the only challenge is they are just getting into the morning over there, and the person will come in and tell us the powerful thing they are also doing as an African youths in the US. And this, I believe, the beginning is what we see. The end, we don't know where to get to. So, Dr. Ibrahim, do you want to lend a
Yes,
voice?
yes, yeah. I wanted to say something briefly. I remember during that time, we set up the presidential forum. Um, we have seen on Instagram that there's
No,
Thank you very much. Yeah, we have seen on Instagram that there is a body that looks like a general body, and we tried as much as possible to reach out to them, but we couldn't have any response. And to be honest, this the youth forum they have in Europe, we're not really aware of that. If I'm
Wow.
very much sure if we know about them, we would have find a way, to synergize things, because at the end of the day, as you have mentioned, it's for us to see how we can give back. That's the aim of the coming together, because if the few of us are able to come in here, it's for us to find a forum to see how we can give back. That might have answered your question. What next?
He's actually asking a rhetorical question, not.
Yeah, no, 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 I
But
understand.
the time you're talking about, anyway, the purpose of this platform is to create more networks, and of
Yeah.
course, but we don't want to dwell much on that. Our time is fast spent. We don't want to dwell much on that, and we will continue to create the networks, and of course, move forward on this. So, without wasting much of our time, do we have John, Mustafa, Barbara? Do we have them on the call? I'm trying to check, but okay. If not, we'll move to our first speaker. Anyway, not really the first. We've had wonderful speeches from people of great leaders and great knowledge. So we'll move on to our next speaker who will bless us, and that is in the person of. Do we have all the speakers available now? So, Sister Olenka, are you still there? Oh, great. Now I can see, now I can confirm the face. uh, Sister Olayinka will be our next speaker. She's a trainer. I can't even say enough who this woman is. She has been part of the family for the past some months, so many few months right now, and she has been impacting. She's a trainer, a consultant, and a founder and CEO of Black Men in Care. This is a woman who also started just like us, but didn't stop. She established when we are talking about networks and creating a grant for the grant for people to step in and then excel. She created that for all the Black women in care, to see how we can build a foundation for these people and of course address many challenges. And she has been doing wonderfully well with that. And an extension of that is what she's bringing into this program and of course into our midst as students as well. So without wasting much of our time, it is my honor to welcome Sister Olayinka, Pastor Olayinka right now.
Evangelists and prophets,
Because
prophetess.
she was just ordained last year, and then as the pastor with a wonderful ministry, and that ministry anyway. Pastor is a step, a confirmation of what you have been doing, and that ministry continues. So over to you, Pastor Olayinka.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Andrew. Dickness Andrew, for that wonderful.
Dickness, you turn me to a woman then?
Oh, no, Dickin Andrew, for that wonderful introduction. So sorry, my voice is a bit cranky because, like you said, I'm a trainer, so I use my voice a lot. So good afternoon to everyone that has joined, and good afternoon to people that will probably watch this recordings of this video. Such a privilege and a great honor to be here. Thank you to Dr. Ibrahim and also their brother Collins for asking that rhetorical questions. I mean, if there is a platform, okay, what next? What is the next thing that we're doing? And such an incredible job that Brother Andrew is doing, bringing students together, because I remember just about 14 years ago when I came into this country myself. So it's just, like what Andrew mentioned earlier, that we're not here for lectures. You probably had enough of that already, going to uni, studying. So you probably had a lot of, lectures. So we're here to just, to empower one another, to inspire you. Probably, through my own stories or any other speakers here today, you'll be inspired to know that there's so much more in this country. I know we are here for a purpose, each and every one of us. So my name is Olayinka Thomas Arugudade. I came into this country about 14 years ago for my first degree. And I was lucky because I will say I was blessed because my mom was here prior to the time I came in here. So she was here before. So there are some challenges that I didn't face, and I thank God for that. So such as accommodation, but I could remember some of my classmates then, they're usually talking about accommodation. And obviously I felt for them during that time. So there are a lot of challenges that you might be faced with, but I would just like to, there are some few things I would just like to mention that, when you come into this country, there are things that you need to be aware of. As I said, I came into this country about 14 years ago, and to be honest with you, it still feels like yesterday. It feels like just yesterday that I came into this country, but it was about 14 years ago. I'm currently, as Brother Andrew said, I'm currently the founder of Black Women in Care, a platform that supports Black people that are working within the health and social care sector. And I'm also the principal consultant at Dominion Consultancy Group, where we provide training and consultation for the health and social care industry or the education industry as well. So I am here in front of you today as somebody that understands the strength to leave home. I mean, when I say home, Nigeria is home. From leaving home and coming to a place that you don't know what you're gonna meet there. I could remember my first time at Heathrow Airport. I was like, is that it? Like, literally, when you come into this country, you have high hopes. Like Dr. Ibrahim said, you want to jackpot and you think, oh yes, that's it. Once I jackpot, all of my issues, all of my problems, they're solved. No, at the end of the day, you're here, you're building the foundation. And when you come in here, sometimes we might want to compare ourselves as somebody that has been here for a long time, or our expectations are so high that we're expecting to start running through, like a fast engine to start, things to start happening to us. So we might need a bit of patience for things to work. Does it work? Yes, if we're patient enough and we're ready to put in the hard work and smart work together, it will definitely work. So I understand the strength that it takes to leave home country and venture into a new territory such as UK, especially in a time as this, and a time where the cost of living is considerably high, and in times where dollars and nairas is soaring high, and the distance between naira and dollar is such a huge distance, and having to convert those things. So I definitely understand, especially for us Nigerians. So we have to Some of us have to venture from the vibrancy of Lagos, or things that we do in Eko, and then, or maybe in other states as well, as Ibadan or in Niger State, and they're having to come here with no family members, with nobody to speak to. And that's why one of the things I like the symposium for, that you can come here, you know, when you're with this family, this group, ARUNSA, is like a family, the people that you can speak to, the people that you can gain advice from. Say, if you want to go far, you know, go alone. You know, but if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you need people, you need connections. So there are things I wanted to be aware of. One of I'll be saying, talking about three to five C's, and one of the C's is the cost. So many of you might be anxious about the cost, by the high cost of living and the tuition fee. It is very crucial. One, you see it as an investment in yourself. You know, when you're investing in something, that means that it definitely, by God's grace, it will yield into bountiful harvest for you. So that is into education. But there are different ways as well that you can minimize the cost. So maybe, you know, squatting with somebody, living, you know, instead of you renting a whole one-bedroom house to yourself, you know, you can share with other students. You can share with other students. Pleased to meet you, Statolu. So you can share with other students, sharing the accommodation together. So obviously you'll be able to share the cost. So you have to be aware of the cost as well. Somebody that is already here, I'm sure you're aware of that already. But there are different ways that you could probably minimize the cost. One of the things I would definitely hammer on is be very aware of your credit. Be so aware of your credit. You don't want to ruin your credit. You know, there's a lot of things that they will be enticing you. You can get this credit card, you can buy this and pay later. When you get this credit card, when you buy those things and paying later, make sure that you pay on time. Pay on time. So, and also just get the credit card that you can manage. Whatever you feel like you cannot manage, because there would be, you know, it's very enticing. Like, you can get a credit card of £2,000. If people get credit card up to 40,000, 50,000 pounds, but it's very enticing at the beginning, but just make sure it's something that is manageable by yourself. You're able to manage this credit card. That also includes store credit, that you can buy this clothes, buy this shoe, and then you can pay it within 12 months. Just make sure it's something that you can manage, and get a part-time job. I believe I don't need to say that already. You already know that, you know, part-time jobs that you're able to manage with your studies, that would not interrupt with your studies. Because remember, you're also investing in your education. So that means that whatever job you're going to get, it will not interrupt with it. You need to give that time for studying as well as working. And when you're working, another thing that you need is make sure that the second C is compliance. Adapting to the different set of laws. One, I said about cost. The second thing is about the compliance. You need to adapt different set of laws. There are laws that governs this country. There are some things that might be norm, you know, back home that we do, that we get away with. Majority of this will not get away with this. I work within the health and social care industry, and it saddens me that most of the time, almost every month, you keep hearing about this person from Nigeria, this person from Africa is taken to prison as a result of what they did at workplace, because to them it was norm. You know, you can slap people, you can shout at people, but here it's classified as an assault, especially, God helping you, you're an international student. So it's easy way to get rid of you. And then if you read the newspaper, there are a lot of students are like that. Recent one being forcing a service user to have a shower, to have a bath, to have personal care. You know, in this country, there are laws and norms, and it might feel difficult initially, but you need to understand that you know, ordering to these local regulations, university rules, immigration rules, and the requirement is very crucial if you want to have a stress-free academic journey. So please, compliance is also very, very important. And the other one is the other C that I'll be mentioning is about your commitment. When you study in the UK, it's not just about scoring well in your test. It's not just about, you know, it's about getting exposure to other culture as well, different global community. This community is awesome, but also expand your territory. Don't limit yourself to the Nigerian community alone. Expand your territory. One of the things I love about Black women in care is that there are loads of people from different backgrounds, Caribbeans, Africans, even the Africans there, that we have some people from Zimbabwe, South Africa. We have different people that have different roles within the health and social care. So you don't want to limit your connections. That is another C. You don't want to limit your connections. Wherever you go, do not keep quiet. I mean, you're in a symposium like this, do not keep quiet. Make your name known. I mean, try to say something, even if you want to ask the questions or you have the contributions, just make sure you say something that people leave your mark. I mean, leave a mark that people know, that they don't know you just by the attendance, by your contributions as well. So please, it's very important. Connections. I've known the power of connections in my journey as a person. When I did was the first thing that I did when we organize a conference. I knew the power of connection, and that's why I would encourage you, if you do not have one yet, please make sure that you open a LinkedIn page and be active on LinkedIn. So in your area of study, if that's what you want to work towards, even if you still want to go back to Nigeria to do some other things, just make sure that you are active on your LinkedIn page. All of the speakers that I got for that conference, they were from my LinkedIn connection page. And all I did was to, I know God was backing me up, but all I did was to just send a message to them. My name is so, would you like to speak on the platform? One of them was the first orthopedic surgeon, the first Black orthopedic surgeon in the UK. Majority of my friends, majority of my colleagues were asking me, how did you get a contact? Just recently, someone was asking me about contact. How did you get a contact? I really need to speak to that woman. I've been trying to speak to that woman, and I only got a contact from LinkedIn. Because one, I was active there. I was very, vocal of what I do, what I'm doing with the Black community, and I contacted her. People are always willing to help, but they want to see what you're already doing and how they can contribute to that. So you have to start something. There's a Yoruba adage, I don't know, maybe, but Andrew will help me translate it. That is a child that lifts his hand, that is who the mother would also help. So when you show that you're already doing something, people are more than willing to support. So you never forget that. So connection, it is very important. Cultivate relationship, not just with the Nigerian peers, but students from other countries. Even at your workplace, connect with people around there. You just never know. You just never know where it's will. And maybe you have old connections as well. So there might be people that maybe you've known back home and they've been in this country before you. Connect with them. Recently, one of my friends contacted me. We haven't even seen for over 14 years. I still haven't seen him now. And he's contacted me, there's some things that I need. I said, okay, I might know somebody that can help. And then I just put a call through that, okay, this person needs some support. Can you support? And immediately it was like that, bam. And he was telling me, and it was almost last minute. It was almost last minute. I was telling me somebody was just asking him to pay thousands of pounds. What he wanted to ask me first was, could you borrow me this money to do this? And I said, why would you need, you don't, I said, one, you waited till last minute. Thank God that, the person was able to come through. But why do you have to pay such a huge amount of money on that? But anyway, connect with your friends. There is no, when we hear, this country, they said is an equalizer. We are all the same. We are all here for greener pasture. So, and we are all here to support. I don't know, maybe I still have some few minutes left. So make sure you connect with other people from other places. Online research, information is power, but also information is powerful until we use it. So whatever you know, share with other people and make sure that you also get updated. Gov.uk, that is the government website, is one website that you will find a lot of resources on there. If you can just take the time to go through the website. The other website as well that I'll be sharing in the chat, I'll copy some website I'll be sharing in the chat. That is website that you can get jobs from. I did an interview with someone recently with our company, and that person is in the University of Northampton, and she's a Nigerian. She only came to the country in September, and she already got a job. She already got a good job. So, I mean, all these websites are very useful, on how you can manage your money, how you can get a good job in the country. Never forget that. And the other thing is, I mentioned about connections. So the friendship you form here can prove to be your lifelong treasure. Engage in networking meetings like you're doing, group activities, especially in your area, or that you're focusing on, your area that you're studying university. Find out about conferences that they are doing that is related to your course, and find out about any webinar that is happening that is related to your course, and contribute your little. Every little drops make an ocean. There is another student of mine that is in Sunderland. She is doing so amazing. I mean, literally so amazing. Even with the council, they're inviting her to talk, and she has a platform for mothers, supporting mothers. So you can do the same. So don't think there isn't anything that you can contribute. There are lots of things, and we live in a country that listens. We live in a country that always looking for solutions to problems. It could be diversity issues, it could be equality issues. It could be about health, it could be about children. So if there is anything that that you're very good at, please don't stop speaking about it, and let everybody hear it. So it's not like you're shouting. If people want to say that you're shouting, you're talking too much, let them say, but just keep talking about it. Be on the right platform at the right time. I find LinkedIn for myself is very, very useful, and it has been useful for me in the past. So always remember that as Nigerians, we are resilient, we are ambitious and tenacious. Challenges are not new to us. So keep the spirit as you journey through your academic life in the UK. I wish you all the best, and God bless you all. I'll be sharing some resources in the chat. So if you can take some of the ones that are related to you. God bless. Thank you so much, Brother Andrew, for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, my sister. That you have never for once disappointed. I learned new C's today. You have to be conscious of your costs, conscious of your compliance, conscious of your commitment, and conscious of your connection. Those are very important to our journey here, and I am always grateful for the God's gift in you and your willingness to pour it into the others. And I can see in the chat someone is already connecting with you, and this is while we say this is not just a lecture, it's a platform to connect, and I can see someone taking advantage of that. So please, you too, it's the more people you have in your circle, and I mean the right set of people, the better it gets. So thank you so much, my sister. If you have any question for her before we move on to the next speaker, please, the time is now. And we have Pastor Ade Dayo already on the group. Oh, Mr. Huludari, that's another wonderful person who has been. Do you want to say a thing or two about your experience as well? As he's a former president of Teesside University, and he has been very active. So, Mr. Huludari, do you want to say a thing or two before we move on to our next speaker?
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Always on Kango.
Thank you for having me here, and thank you for this platform. And actually, there's no more to say because I have, at least I always say, first thing is thank God for the experience, and thank God I took the opportunity and the chance as well, and I made the decision actually. And like Ms. Olayinka said earlier, yeah, it's not easy, but at the same time, it can always get better. That's what I always tell people. It can always get better when you keep pushing and you don't give up. Yeah, that is it. So, and my experience so far in Teesside University, just as the NSSPF was formulated in 2021. Actually, there used to be the Nigerian Society, but which was dormant as of 2018. So, upon my arrival in 2021, yeah, I had to connect with one or two of my friends, which was Salari, and also we have Mr. Olaleko Odede, which is championing, and the CEO of Save a Woman. So he was one that actually assisted us to reactivate the Nigerian group in Tisa University. And ever since, yes, it has been impactful, productive, and supportive to everyone. And here we are. We have our current president now, which is Adidamola. And we've also been able to have more than 3 representatives as student union president in the university, Nigerian students. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much. My always in Kango brother. He has been a very wonderful and a resourceful person. And those are the people who started with. And do we have Pastor Adida on the call? Okay, if not, I think we have the next speaker on.
Andrew,
Yes, sir.
you are lifted. Can I say it again, please?
So sorry about that. He's already joining. Oh, thank you. I'm trying to connect Pastor Adida, and he's coming in right now. He's our next speaker, and this one is a wonderful man of God who talking about networks, who we are privileged to connect with, and he has been doing something great. Oh, he's on the call now. So, Mr.
Sorry, I think Madam Tarela is here and she was not introduced.
She just, no, I've not seen, has she joined?
Yeah, we just try and take a look anyway.
Okay, that means she just joined in. Okay, Madam Tarela, are you able to talk before we go on?
Yes.
Please, Pastor, just a minute before you go on. Madam Tarela, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, great. This is Madam Tarela, ambassador, so to say. She is the leader of the Nigerian youth and UK. She is representing the NYCN in the UK. So please, are you the next 1 or 2 minutes? Just tell us about your experience and, of course, how we can learn from that. Being a great woman you are.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you. Yeah, as you said, I'm Tarela Aganti, the UK ambassador for the Nigerian National Youth Council of Nigeria, Europe chapter. And yeah, I wear many hats, but I'm just here to support. And hopefully we can take Nigeria to a greater level, another level that will benefit the youths and mostly people that Nigerians that live here in the diaspora. Yeah. So I'm glad to be here today, and I open to learning to receive knowledge and a lot of understanding to quite a few things that we do. So yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. I'll pass over to you now. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We are talking about networks, this another person, the leader of the youth that we can network with. She has been doing great things concerning Nigeria, of course, both here and back home. That we're talking about taking back home. She has been taking back home, so she's open to all networks. So without wasting much of our time, Pastor Adedayo, are you ready? Hello? Can you hear me? You connected to
Hello?
audio? Okay, yeah.
Can you hear me?
So Pastor Didayo is a part of the pastoral team for Winners Chapel headquarter in European headquarter in which is Dartford. He's a coach, and if I am talking about someone who you meet and his life inspires you, this is one of them. A man who is always invigorated, a man who is always, the happiness of God always radiates around him. So it's a privilege to have connected with this wonderful man. So please bless us with what the Lord is putting on your hearts today.
God bless you mightily. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Apologies for not joining from the beginning. I'm actually not in the UK now. It's my wife's birthday, so we're way out of the country. But having said that, I want to appreciate God for everyone, the visionary, everyone connected to every leader in the house. It's an honor to be able to share my little experience. And I trust God that He will help me to speak His perfect will. Yes, and God is good, as we share together with the visionary Dr. Andrew. For any individual to enjoy their stay in any country, number one, relationship with God. If it's shaky, we ask God to help. If we're not born again, we ask Him to come into our heart. And when that is settled, we find a good Bible-believing church to be planted, because God always places the solitary in families. We are not on this journey by ourselves. That's what the enemy wants to make people think. You are here now in this country. No, God is able to make all things beautiful. That is taking people 20 years to arrive at the expected end. Doesn't mean it applies to you. Everyone has their journey. Everyone has their own lane. So number one, relationship with God. Number two, be planted in a good church. Number three, we don't take lightly our relationship. We go back to relationship with God now, because He's the one that will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. Direct you, that you came into the country. I hear different stories. I paid this, I no longer have a job. It doesn't matter. God, I know some people probably put different things together before they got here, but you're here now. The moment you're here, God is the one who has caused you to be here. And wheresoever the sole of your foot shall tread, God has given it to you as a possession. It's important. We cannot cancel out God out of the equation. That some people are not trusting God doesn't mean it should be you. Said, acknowledge me in all your ways. Acknowledge me before you come, whilst you're here, and He will direct your path into plenty, direct your path into success. If someone has cajoled you into coming here and you're here, they abandoned you, it's not a time to start crying and start saying, oh, no. That everything wasn't lost is because of God. And it's just, Lord, guide me. Lead me in the path, and it connects me to my path of destiny. This platform alone is God that has connected you. There's so many people in the valley of confusion, not knowing what to do. Relationship is a challenge. Job is a challenge. With God, all things are possible. It's God that we need to make all our needs to be a reality. Without God, no matter the education, no matter the experience, the connection, it's going to be a challenge. So as we said, God first, a good church, and develop capacity. You're a believer now. Every human being is first of all a spirit. We have a soul, we live in a body. It's our spirit that God will direct. It's a natural man and a woman that is anxious. A natural man and a woman is the one who who is confused about tomorrow. If God said, I will instruct you, that means God who is not an author of confusion or who is not Father Christmas, he will instruct you and teach you concerning that career. He will teach you concerning that relationship. He will. Some people came in without a relationship. Some people came in not knowing what tomorrow will bring. But the moment the first is in place, the second is intact, everything will fall in place. It's always seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, every other thing will be added. So in this great call, when I meet people, I don't want people to make the same mistake I made. When I came into the country, that's when I departed from faith. The enemy so orchestrated it, I just forgot about Christianity. Probably due, I was born here, but came into the country. We left, me, my sisters, and my parents when I was 3. Then came back when I was 21. I was born again then when I was 20. Came back here. I didn't have a really good church planted, relationship with God due to different. My dad, he was a Muslim. Thank God he gave his life to Christ before he passed on to the glory of God. So I came here and said, my family, there's no Christian. Where are you going to get it from? And I had no choice. I had to stay with him. Or didn't go to church anymore. Before I know it, drifted from faith. No more capacity to resisting with sin. Before you know it, got involved in different, came from humanizing to different things. But thank God that he orchestrated other my steps back to him, and I was able to retract. Today, God has helped me, married with a daughter, part of the pastoral team, and being a blessing to people, which wouldn't have happened if God didn't allow me to retrace my steps back to him and to be planted in a good church. So we can't talk too much about it. It's very, very important as we are connected to him, as he helps us to develop capacity. Everything will fall in place, whatever is lost, and also things to be mindful of. Be mindful of friendship that you had years ago and you didn't keep in contact, but you came back to the UK and you get connected back. Nothing wrong with friendship, but you have to be wise. Bad company always corrupts good character. You don't know what people has been into. People can, in their wanting to advise, because people that are not genuinely have a relationship with God always want people to start from where they started from. As I said in the beginning, everybody has their journey. Everybody has their own lane. That's why it's good as you journey, Lord, connect me to helpers of destiny that will sharpen me, that will encourage me, that will support me in this my journey. And as you do, God will connect you to the right people. God will help you. That it took them 20 years, 30 years doesn't mean it will take you. God can make your feet like hinds feet. He can cause you a journey of 30 years in 1 year, in less than a year. Everything working, because it doesn't take, if it took God 6 days only to create the entire globe, only to life, God can do it. That's why the Bible says a day is like 1,000 years, 1,000 years like a day. So as we in Jesus' mighty, mighty name. Can you still hear me? Hello?
Hi.
Oh, yes. Hallelujah. So God is faithful. God is good. Let's not be anxious for nothing. Don't worry about nothing. Everything is working together for your good. Everything. God will make all things beautiful in his own time for you. He will make all things. You are a pillar in your community, a pillar in your family, someone God has ordained to move from one level of glory to another. Don't let the enemy lie. It's the enemy that wants to lie to you. You don't have it. Hello?
Please continue. The person has been muted.
Hello?
Please go ahead. The person has been muted.
Praise God. Yes.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
So everything is beautiful. Just
Amen.
know that God has placed you in the very palm of his hands, and your walls are continually before him. The purpose of him bringing you to this land, he himself will perfect. He himself will cause you to arrive at your expected end. And it's important to always, as your relationship with God is intact, as you are planted in a good Bible-believing church, whatever is being taught in that place will frame your thinking, and you're able to become what God wants you to be. You see yourself. God was asking Jeremiah, what do you see? He said, I see a pot of an almond tree. He said, because you've seen, well, I will hasten my word to perform it. See your expected end. See where God is taking you. And it's a matter of time. You will testify of the goodness of the Lord in this land of the living. God richly bless everybody. Dr. Andrew, over to you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. People keep asking me, not even just people alone. I spoke with the deputy director of doctoral school in my school yesterday about the ideas I'm introducing to the school, about a business conference, because the way the Africans who are there have been doing it, I'm never satisfied with that. I wanted something. While I was talking and talking and talking, the woman just looked at me. Are you looking after yourself? Are you looking after yourself?
Don't worry, don't worry.
Oh, this we worry here. With
Ojoju.
Sorry, she's muted. Your voice is worrying us here. She was asking me, "Are you looking after yourself?" I just laughed. That if you know she's a white woman, so they may not understand the language speaking. She was like, if you know the person who is taking care of, I can't take care of myself. If you know the person who is taking care of me, he is the creator of care itself, the author of care, and the finisher of care. So because she was wondering, how can someone be doing all this, and are you not going to have mental health, all those? I said, where I'm certified, I cannot. But the question that is the more reason I am glad you are part of this program, because those foundations, we tend to neglect it, but we still come back to still see that they are challenged. Someone, and don't take me to this question. Someone, I was speaking with a lady and she was crying, feeling anxious. I was like, but immediately I heard the word anxious, I don't just talk. I had to call the person immediately. Sister Nika, please mute yourself. I had to call the person immediately, and the person was crying and stuff like that. So I had to encourage the person. And this is not just one person. I can't count the numbers. I'm just giving this person as an example. So the one thing she said was, I told her about getting closer to God, and she made mention of something like, even the church she's attending, and the church is discouraging. The church is even the one causing her to. The church is even the one causing her to feel. They're always gossiping. They always. So, what do you have to say to that? Isn't that another challenge for us when you're asking us to move closer to God? What do you have to say to that, sir?
Good question. Yeah. My God is always, as I said in the beginning, God will instruct you. He will teach you in the way you should go. If you're in a church, there are churches and there are churches. That's why my take on church is go to a church that is established. If you go into a church 10, 20 years and there's still 2, 3, what they preach is, God has called us to have only a little people there. That's a lie. Anything that has life must grow. You're going to a church and you feel they are adding to your issue, you leave. You don't owe it to anybody. Some gatherings is just to pay bills. To pay. That's why a church where you see the pastor still has a job and he's still a pastor, you have to run. He's short-sighted. That's just the bottom line. They will hide behind, God hasn't called me to grow churches. He's only called us to have little. No, if you have, it's like a child growing up. It gets to a stage, it stops growing. You're worried. In anywhere in the world, it's a concern. You have to go to the hospital. You have to do different things to check out, why is this child not growing? Why are you not talking? Why? Same thing. It's if you enter a church whereby it's stagnated, you do yourself a disservice. You vote with your feet. You go, there's churches around. I can only speak from come to winners. I was already on the brink of divorce when I came, due to my foolishness, so many years ago. When I came, when the word began to come out, I said, my wife, please, you can go and tell my pastor anytime, because this has to work no matter what. We came from a place whereby divorce the pastor, divorce this, divorce that. Before you know it, also the same thing is rubbing on us. We had to leave no matter what. You leave. Any church you're going, they are not supportive. You're not appreciated, or you are not moving from one level of glory, same message. You have to leave. That's just the bottom line. You go find, Lord, lead me to a place where you've ordained me to be. There are so many churches where you get there, your life will move from one level of glory to another because it's from the top. It trickles down. If there's a challenge on the top, it has to trickle down. And you see that church is not moving 20, 30 years. You ask, how long have you been here? 30 years. How many? 20. 20? Oh, that makes sense. I only dare because it's I just to pay a bill, to do different things. And some are not called. That's why you have to be very wise. You don't owe it. You've been there for years. It don't make any difference. You're not making progress. You move. God is not upset. When we say, I've been there for years, I'm in the choir. It doesn't matter. You know certain things. God will speak to you when you're in a place and you're not making progress. He will tell you, unless that person also short-sighted too. That's why relationship is the key with God. You don't have it, it's going to be a chore. Natural people, the enemy, they are legitimate food for the devil. That's just the way it is. Just like when God pronounced a curse on Eve, when you give birth, it's going to be hard for you. Also, he told the serpent, you crawl on your belly, and dust will be your food. And dust, anyone who is not a believer is dust. Dust, and they're legitimate food for the enemy until they cross to the other side. You're now connected to God, and the other issue is a good church. You can't, even though you live for a church, I tell people a church alive is what the drive. Don't go and be stagnated in a place, because whatever is done there will rub on you, no matter how godly you are. It's a matter of time. Bad company always corrupts good character. So, church, when there's issue, you can place your finger. Some people don't have a clue. Thank God that she identified that this place, it looks as if it's not good for me. You move straight away. You don't owe nobody. You don't owe anybody nothing. You go to the palm. Sorry, I just have to leave. They cannot hold you down. And that's about it. God will honor you, kind sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Pastor. I'm sorry, Dr. Andrew. Please, Pastor, I have a little question. I don't know if you can entertain. Welcome.
Yes.
And I feel the only thing that will make constant is change. I think so.
Well, so again, I didn't hear that.
I said the only thing that will make constant is change. Every other thing change. Now, if you are an ordained pastor and you went to a church, or you've made two people there and things are not working, what are you supposed to do as an ordained pastor? Because I feel if you are ordained, you can change. That is why everything is changed. Can you change people?
Okay. Okay, are you talking from the context of a pastor going to a church?
When you say you move, when you move to a church and things are not moving on well, you can leave. You just take a leave and go to other place where things are moving fine. That is what you said.
No, what I said is, let's give an example. You go to a church. Well, we're speaking with regards to the scenario that Dr. Andrew brought up. A lady is in a church. She's saying that the church from where she's sitting is adding to her issue. So we're speaking from that context. The church I'm going to, it looks, for example, I was in a church. The man of God, he endorsed the divorce. He gave that example. He even divorced his wife, not because of adultery. Even though there's adultery, it's always 77 times 7 you forgive. Because for a woman, we're digressing a bit now, probably God wants to speak to someone. For a woman to even go into adultery is because of either parental bring up, or when she went into a relationship, she got brokenhearted, and now she met Mr. John, for example. Now she's misbehaving. So it's not the woman's fault, it's whatever is put in her, she's manifesting. So the man is the one who needs to sit down well before you choose. That's why it's he who will find a wife, finds a good. If you say you chose a woman, and now this woman, you have 2, 3 kids, she's now misbehaving, now you say you want to go, there's no going back. You are the one who didn't choose well, but since you've chosen, you're here now. You can't say because of that, I'm going, but that's another class now. So we're talking about the woman who said, the church I'm going to, 2, 3 people, or 4, 20 people, but it looks as if my challenges is traceable to this place. You leave. You're not a man, you're a Christian. If you know that you've gone to this, you've done different things, things are still not shifted. You vote with your feet. But if you're a pastor, are you saying that if someone is a pastor, you enter a place and there's challenges with 2 or 3 people, there's still challenges. Okay, you're a pastor yourself, you came here. It depends on the context of why you came. You might be the friend to the pastor who brought you in to say, please come support. This is genuinely what's happening. He's been honest with you now. This is what's happening. Church is not growing because of this, and you, God has helped you. In that kind of context, as a pastor, you don't go. You sit down together because you are both pastors. And if he's willing to listen, you can make progress. In a context like that, church can still progress. But you have to know, okay, this is the challenge I'm facing. It's because probably I'm working and my time is 80% my work and 20% my church. Church is not going to grow. People might die daily because you don't see. You are the shepherd over the church and you are still divided. It's either God has called you to a business world or called you to be a pastor. It's understandable if for now, probably that's why when people are building churches based on their pocket is a challenge. God is the one to build his church and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. But if a minister is more natural than spiritual, they will calculate, I don't have this money. I have to go and walk now to me. It's not your church. It's not your people. God will be, if you don't walk by faith, you will be frustrated. That's why many of our churches, some, I won't say many, some churches are not growing. Because if you interview the pastor, he's still got a job. You will be divided. You got a job, you got a family, you have a church. If you sit down and talk to him, you can tell what percentage is devoted to the people of God. And if you don't have 100% devotion, you cannot see. You will be frustrated. You will wind up the people and it will just be money collection all the time because you defaulted into naturality. When you walk in the spirit, certain things you will not do. It will be glory to glory. Your church will grow because God, who has given you the vision, will give provision. But if you default in the flesh, you want to calculate, you want to do this, oh, let's go and sell this building, let's go and remortgage, let's go get a mortgage, let's do this. It will be natural calculation because you have some sort of level of education. It's not by power, it's not by might, but by my spirit. So also is an individual life, it's not by calculation. Yeah, you come here to do education, beautiful, but it is God first. Acknowledge me in all your ways. He will direct your path into plenty, not into stagnation. When you see a church not progressing, you better ask questions. You have a right to ask. And since I've been here, life is, you have to be blunt. Since I've been here, could you tell me, Pastor, actually, what do you do? I'm a lawyer, you see. And I have to focus on my, okay, it's beautiful. God will honor you from today. Sorry, I need to. Because you can't see well. That's the bottom line. You're not the Almighty. It's either God has called you as a pastor when you're a pastor. People don't know what pastorate is. You focus your life on it. You don't have that. That's why in Winners, you cannot, when you are called into full-time pastorate, you cannot have a job. It's impossible. You cannot combine both. You won't give 100%. But when the man of God is giving 100%, You will hear God for his people. And every word you speak, people will be blessed. There was a day, just a few weeks ago, a lady, one of the people that God connected me to, they called me and said, when you spoke, my sister saw light, and we just want to be a blessing to you. We want to, I just ignored what they were saying because I didn't want anything money-wise. Said, please, could you send us, I just sidetracked what they were saying. Because it's not anything, but I was just reflecting when they said that. So it's just God. It's God. When you give 100% to him in pastorate, that's where the blessing is tied. You don't need additionals. When there's additionals, that's when there will be chaos. That's when there will be stagnancy. It has to be full-time or not. Until you're ready to answer the call, then go back to God. Hopefully, he hasn't given it to another. Because everything is 100% or not. You seek ye first. The moment you begin to add employment to it, this, and you want to be pastor, it's impossible. People will not have 100% blessing.
Thank you.
I hope that answered the question.
Thank you so much. I don't want us to continue. I only have one question not for argument's sake or for disagreements. It's just for clarity.
No.
And I so much thank you for the time. And of course, the platform is for connection. If you want to learn more, it is what has been working for me, and that's why I had to even connect with you and bring you here, because it is what has been working for me. And people run into so many challenges when it comes to this, and they'll still come back. Either they blame God or this is our time is fast spent. I wouldn't want us to. So please, I really appreciate you, Pastor, and I'm so glad to have connected with you, and I'm so blessed to have connected with you. And I believe one or two persons have been blessed as well this time. But if you still want to connect with dear man of God, please, this platform is for connection. And of course, I can assure you that you're not going to regret that. So, without wasting much of our time, and we ought to have a break, but the time is fast spent. So, I would like to move on to our next speaker, which is Nikin Olugbenga Ogunbode. Is he on the call?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Oh, well, great. I am very fine.
Wonderful.
I cannot state enough who this man is. He has been a blessing to. I keep saying network really matters, and I'm glad I connect to these great men and women, so to say. This is a man who has been a rock, a pillar behind this group of students, and he's not just the type that talks alone. He also does the talking. He is always more than willing to be available anytime he's called. He's a man of many hats. So if we start mentioning those hats, the time will be fast spent. But just to not disrespect him, he's the MD and CS of TEC Group. And of course, he's also a member of Nigerian Cambridge Society. So it's an honor to have you in our midst today.
Thank you.
I believe we'll be blessed.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Andrew, and for and your team as well for the amazing work you continue to do. I mean, your events are one that I always put in my diary because I enjoy it. I learned a lot from it. I mean, the speakers we've had, the PhD student contribution, it's been fantastic. You never come and not pick something. There's always something to pick from events like this. So please, sir, keep it going. I know that you're doing this from a position of service, and your team as well. Please continue to do all that you do. Thanks. I took quite a lot of notes as well when Mrs. Olanyika Thomas was speaking. Always great to have you on the platform, and certainly thanks to Pastor Adedayo Adesonya. In fact, he took one of my my points already for this afternoon. But I'll go straight to the point just because of time and just share what has been on my heart for some time. Last week, I was speaking in London at an event for Africans coming into the UK, and it was all about settlement. It was all about navigating the UK successfully. And after that program, I was asked to speak again at an event with the Home Office at the end of this month. And the topic that came to mind is upskilling to becoming highly skilled. I mean, how do you upskill to become highly skilled? And I want to start by saying, maybe as an aside, it's more of an aside, that today I've met on this platform different Nigerian society groups. I would just want to encourage us to make sure we're stronger together. When I was a student, I don't want to tell you how many years ago, but when I was a student in the UK, there was just the one Nigerian umbrella society that we were all part of. And if you even look back to the days of the clamor for independence, the days of the Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, the Tafawa Balewa, we had the West African Student Association in London. And this became the formidable group that brought a change. Number one, they gave us dignity in a foreign country, but they also gave us the movement to make a change in our home countries. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is that it'll be good for us at some point to synergize these groups, because if we're having different groups, it would weaken our resolve and our strength. I mean, it's not, it's just an observation. It's not a criticism, but it's great to have these groups. But are there ways we can work together for a common good? Upskilling to becoming highly skilled. Many, many years ago, when the Tier 4 visa system started, I remember it was a Labour government in office then, and the organization I had was one of the companies they worked with. In fact, we mapped out Nigeria for them. And following that, I've been at the forefront of arguing for Nigerian students and African students as well to remain in the UK and succeed in the UK. So this has been a thing of joy to see that there are now many Nigerian students in the UK. But there's nothing new under the sun. This is not new. The first Africans or Nigerians that came to the UK came 200 years ago, 1824. Even before then, records show that some were already here by 1780s. So Jackpot, whatever you call it, is not new. It's not new. So don't ever think your situation is unique. History repeats itself all the time. We saw this movement again in the 1960s, following independence and political unrest leading to independence. We saw this again with economic challenges in the 1980s. We saw this again in the late 90s with the Sani Abacha regime. There was mass exodus of Nigerian claiming asylum in the UK. There's always been an exodus of people, and we find ourselves again in this situation. But what I sense, and this is why I felt like sharing this, is that in order for us to take advantage of this new community we find ourselves, for new country, we must upskill to become highly skilled. We must upskill ourselves to become highly skilled. This is one country that will never ignore value. You cannot become a value-adding citizen or even a value-adding visitor, and the system doesn't keep you in the system. But very often, I think that the situation with many of us is that the things we're doing are not necessarily adding value to the system. And this is the biggest frustration. So how do I upskill to become highly skilled? The first thing on my note, and the pastor has said it, of course, is, of course, put God first. The first C, Olayinka was talking about C's. I have a lot of C's as well. The first C is the creator. I think as people of faith, whether you're Christian or Muslim, your destiny is ordained by God. And if the creator has ordained your destiny, that will be my first point. God, what is your plan for my life? You know, there are many people in the UK that God's plan may be Dubai or Canada. Let it not be a do or die affair. Let it be God's plan for my life. So the first thing I would say is check with your creator. The second thing I have on my note is certification. Get certification. I read law, my background is law, and I know that for you to be successful in this system, you must be certified. Very often, many people get carried away by, well, I've got a master's in this, I've got a PhD in this. Unfortunately, there are many masters and PhD, but very few certification. Regardless of what you're doing, make sure you're getting certification. Look for the skills gap in the country and start to get certified in those areas. Your degree is good, but I don't think your degree will be good enough to get you highly skilled. What takes you from ordinary skills or just a degree to becoming highly skilled is to upskill yourself with certification. My second C has been said already, connections, networking. That's what we're doing today. You cannot do it alone. You know, if you stand on the shoulders of giants, you can see beyond. This path you're trying to cross, many have already crossed it. So be connected. Don't be arrogant. Don't be humble. I'm sorry, be humble. Don't be arrogant. Don't think I'm a self-made man or self-made woman. I can do it on your own. No, you cannot. You need connections. Number 3, I put down contribution. That's my third C, contribution. Or number 4, rather, contribution. The first was the creator. Second was certification. Third was connection. The fourth one is contribution. Be service-oriented. Don't just be a taker. You know, for many of us to volunteer is such a difficult thing to do, but to take shift and shift and shift till breaking point, we can do that. Why not serve? It could be in a place of worship. It could be at university. It could be for NGOs. It could be for the British Heart Foundation. You know, there are chances to serve. I remember one testimony or story in Cambridge and Anglia Ruskin University. In those days when getting sponsorship to stay in the UK was difficult, there was a particular Nigerian guy I met at Abuja airport. He was coming back to the UK with his wife. And I asked him, what are you here to do? He said, well, I've just got married, bringing my wife. How did you get your sponsorship? Nobody's sponsoring. Was tier 2 days. He said, well, I volunteered for a charity in Cambridge, and I was the first ever person they sponsored. Why? Because they just didn't want to let me go. I remember him, he was serving in a homeless charity in Cambridge, maybe 1 or 2 nights a week. But because of that, somebody took notice. So we must become contributors to this new society we find ourselves in. Number 5, cost. It's going to cost you something. Count the cost. There's a price. To become highly skilled, there's going to be a price. It's not going to come easy. And I think I want to drive this thing home. Don't settle with just a degree. You know, people are doing masters in interesting things, but there's so many people. In fact, there are more masters older now, thanks to the influx of foreign students than ever before. There's going to be a cost to be highly skilled. There's going to be a cost in place. Number 6, collaborate. Get other people involved. I'm a big fan of the Indian community and the Jewish community in this country because they're doing amazing things collaborating. Why can't we start collaborating as Nigerians, as Africans? Why can't we start doing things together? Why can't we start floating companies together? Why can't we start buying houses to help our society together? We need to collaborate more effectively. My next C is culture shift. You see, when Mr. Andrew and I spoke in the week, I said, many of us need to build a new mental infrastructure. The mental infrastructure we've come to the UK with is not enough to sustain us. You know, we're now competing at a global stage. In your country, you were competing locally. Everybody was like you. But now you're at a global stage with Indians, with Chinese. It's different. There needs to be a culture shift. You cannot do things the way you were doing things, the way you were coming from your home country. I always make this joke with many of my friends, including my brother, who's recently moved to the UK. I said, well, there are a lot of Nigerians who've lived in the UK since 2019, 2020, 2021, 22. Some of them have never eaten anything else beyond beans and plantain. Many of them don't know what steak is. Many of them, every Sunday or Saturday, they are stocking up Nigerian food. They've not tried anything else. Do you realize that in some interviews, your ability to engage with the food might decide whether you win or lose that place? There must be a culture shift. You haven't just come here just to work, and eat your own food. There must be a shift. You need to try other things. You need to appreciate the culture around you. It's not everything in the culture you should disregard. And I'm not asking you to embrace the things about the culture that is against your faith or against where you're coming from. But there needs to be a culture shift. Our way of doing things is not going to sustain us here. Our way of raising children where we're coming from is not going to sustain us here. Our way of doing relationship, where the wife's role is the kitchen and the husband cannot go into the kitchen to help, is not going to help us here. Why? Because you're in a new culture. If you wanted to keep your culture, maybe you should have stayed where you are. So there must be a culture shift. And the final one, I'm going to land on this one. Actually, two more. I've got 4 minutes. The next one is community. Upskilling to becoming highly skilled. Build community. Don't get disconnected from a community. Be part of a community. You know, that's one of the things that makes your journey in this your new environment easy to navigate. Have community. There, of course, there are churches and mosques, there are places of community. You know, there are people doing things you want to connect with. Community is different from networking. You know, it's just a support network you have. You know, networking is where you're going, iron sharpening iron, but community is a place where you're down, you're low. There are people around you, often people who have come from a similar background as you have. So keep community. Don't disregard community. Community may not be perfect. You know, people might say, well, they do things like Nigerians. Well, I tell you what, you'll be so blessed to have that community behind you. You appreciate that community more when you get in trouble or when things are tough. You lose maybe you lost a parent or grandparent. The community is there to support you. Might even be praying for you in a difficult season in life. So you need to keep in touch with community. The final thing I'll talk about, and I'll land on this, is confidence. Don't cast away your confidence. Don't cast away your confidence. I say this very often because I speak to a lot of international students coming into the UK. And many seem to forget that we've all been on a journey. You might hear somebody being an MD or CEO today, but they started from somewhere. The fact of the matter is that very often it's very easy to lose your vision. Very often it's very easy to lose your identity. There's some places you stay in for so long. There's some jobs that you know is temporary, but you've been on it for so long that it starts to rob you of dignity and confidence. You need it for a season. You need to get your finance together. You need to get your whatever you need to get together. But don't lose sight of the bigger vision. And this is why your confidence is very important. Many people who've crossed over to the UK recently were doing great things wherever they're coming from. Don't lose your confidence. Yes, you're in a new terrain. There are things to navigate. Maybe the things you were doing, you may not necessarily be able to do it immediately. This is why you need to take on those courses. This is why you need to have those connections. This is why you need to contribute. But don't lose your confidence. It's a biblical thing. It says, cast not your confidence away because it has great reward. The minute you start to lose your confidence, the minute you start to think I'm not good enough. In fact, I have a way of doing things. The jobs I apply for, the businesses I start, is the ones people tell me Black people don't do it. I love such opportunities. The minute you tell me Black people don't do it, you caught my attention. The minute you tell me Black people love to do this thing, I don't go there. But the minute you tell me Blacks don't do this thing, I'm prepared to pay the ultimate price to ensure that changes. So my friends, my brothers, my sisters, let's work together. Let there be unity in our community. I was so sad a couple of weeks ago when I was told that there was a particular platform of Nigerians in the UK, and what they announce every week is obituaries of Nigerians overworking, dying at work. And I said, life should not be this difficult, but a lack of wisdom, a lack of community, a lack of purpose is robbing our people of this great reward God has for us. So let's not lose our confidence. It has great reward. Thank you very much again for this opportunity. And I just hope we continue to do more of this. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I cannot overstate how it's just so wonderful. Sometimes it's just God is just so awesome. I interviewed 2 students after our last orientation program, And one person said one thing, and it was very powerful. I was asking what did they take from the program, and the person said all the speakers said the same thing in different ways. You can see that the great minds think alike. You started with the previous speaker has spoken concerning what, but the way you present it is another way that they've touched. That shows the kind of God is not a God of confusion. Holy Spirit doesn't confuse. There is a connection in the minds, and even to now make things even more amazing. What you just said, what you said last was what I discussed with the deputy director of doctoral school in my school yesterday about the way blacks handle things, and whether we want to dabble into the confidence, whether we want to dabble into things. I told her that many of those who are here are already seasoned, and I think I've said that in the Cambridge group one time when someone was saying the program is in the introducing. I asked her whether she would like to connect with the students. She said it's not for students, it's for professional. I replied, please don't say it again. Many of the people who are here are seasoned professionals before they came here. They have one great thing they are doing before they get here. But while I was, and the same thing I was telling the deputy director yesterday, but the problem is once they get here, education, academic requirements, and of course, survivor takes many of those things away from them. It's now difficult to reconnect back to that which they have been doing that has been successful before they came in here, from which they got the money to even come here. Many have fully established. I said majority, only a few are undergraduates. And even those who are undergraduates are already doing something. But the many are already on a particular trend. They are already successful in a particular, but because of the survivor need, and of course the requirements for academics, which is the basis for being here, that sometimes takes away those beautiful things, those wonderful things they have been doing. So I was trying to ask, how do we reestablish those things back? Because we need a kind of, I was proposing a kind of thing to, or the school, of course, it's not some, when the food is already cooked, it's what everybody will see. The way to reconnect people back to that which because they have been successful in it and they are able to make money to even come here in the first place. So I'm really glad that the minds are and that's God is not the God of confusion. He always connects great minds together and see things in the same way, but putting it in different ways, given our mind. And of course, the last one, which is about community and of course contribution. This is a platform and of course we will still get back. We threw it out that people who want to volunteer because we have so many programs that we want people to be part of. And this can give us the word certification you mentioned. This can give us certificates to add to our what do you call it, to our profile. Rather than the only work we have been doing, we can always have this. So please, I'm really glad you through all this. I learned a lot from this, and it's so wonderful. Creator, of course, that is very necessary. Certification, connection, contribution, cost, collaboration, culture shift, community, and confidence. I pray God will help us concerning all those as we note them and take them into action. So please, our next speaker, Dr. Nana, please appreciate all the speakers. Please use the chat to appreciate all the speakers. If you who are blessed like I am, please let us appreciate all the speakers on the chat. And if you also want to network with, of course, the platform is for everybody to network. We can't overstate that. So is Dr. Nana on the call here? Great. Thank you, Sister Olayinka. Just a moment, please. Let me reach out some. So thank you. Dr. Nana will be joining us in the next 5 minutes. But in the meantime, please, I met some of our students, some of our colleagues in last night, and I told them they said something while trying to talk about their experiences. They said something which was so powerful, which I picked from, and I want them to share it. They will say it's better to hear from the horse's mouth. Two ladies especially, I asked them to be, I don't know whether they are on the call. That's why I said we should add our names to please change your name to the profile so we can identify. But if they're on the call, please let us identify them. And of course, while we're talking, we have Uju who came in, and that's another leader who has been doing greatly. And we have Damo. Please, if you want to add 1 or 2 words to what we've been saying, please. The floor is yours. These are leaders from different. Okay, Uju, are you able to talk? Oh, you're muted, so please, if you are able to talk. And Lukman Damo. And all the leaders and on the platform, please. Oh, great. Thank you for those feedbacks. Do we have those colleagues I met yesterday night? Do we have them on the call? Okay, Jumi, are you the one? Oh, Jumi, please come on and unmute yourself. Oh, great. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone.
It was great to share time with you last night and everyone. You please first introduce yourself. People would like to know you.
My name is Olajumoke. I'm doing masters in Anglo-Ruskin University, studying an animal behavior application for conservation.
Wow, great.
Yeah.
That's great, and even the voice and the look is always great. So please, you said something yesterday, and it's one of the challenges that people face, especially concerning assignments. When they submit, there is sometimes the message that will be sent to, and I'm talking from the various reports I've got, they will call them to say they have academic misconduct. And will I say fortunately or unfortunately, I've been a member of the panel, a member of Senate for the school, who sat on the panel for students. And sadly, I had no choice than to ask the student to be withdrawn just because of this same academic misconduct. But you went into that lion's den and you came out victoriously. And the difference is the students, although not a Nigerian, so we should be happy. We shouldn't be so sad about that. I'll be kicking myself if I ask Nigerian to be withdrawn. So the UK went to the Lions Den about academic misconduct. Once someone hears that, they start to panic, and it's as if there is a problem. But the difference between what the testimony you gave yesterday and the student I sat on a panel was that she lacked evidence. She was just crying and crying. I told her, of course, crying will catch my heart, will make us
sympathize.
Of course, we make me sympathize with you, but it doesn't get you decision. The decision will be based on evidence. So please, when you were asked to come, what was the accusation and what was your defense that got you the victory?
That day, it was that scene was like, I don't know how to say it. It was so crazy. At first, I got an email from a school academic misconduct panel that, oh, my assessment has been reported and they want to do some investigation. And before that investigation, if I do have anything to say, maybe evidence or anything, I should forward it to them and all. I was like, how? What happened? Immediately I got that email. I sent an email to my lecturer that, oh, Dr. Claudia, what happened to my assignment? What was wrong? She was like, she suspected something and she has to report it, and she has no decision that it will be panel that will judge. Okay. And later I got another email fixing meeting that, oh, I have to face panel and I should come and explain myself. So this day came. So the panel, they were like, okay, introduce yourself. I did. They were like, okay, can you tell us how you do your assignment and all? So I explained to them how I did my assignment, what the assignment is all about. Okay, they were like, oh, they are not too convinced, that they have to see some evidence. And what are those evidences? The paper that I used, how I started the assignment, how I did the assignment. But before that time, I will say thank you to my, what's it called, my personal tutor. Because when I had this challenge, I had to run to my personal tutor. I was like, oh, Dr. Jim, this lecturer, this particular lecturer, she's strict. Like, actually, she's very lovely, but she's strict with her things. Even in class, she's the only lecturer that I do call attendance. Not other lecturers call attendance. You just clock in, sit down. But she will make sure everybody is in class. So I was like, oh, Dr. Jim, this is what I'm facing. No, like, I didn't do any academic misconduct. I didn't commit any academic misconduct and all. And he was like, oh, are you sure you did your assignment yourself? I said, yes, I did. And he was like, okay.
Sorry,
if you have been able
to... What kind of academic misconduct?
And they were like, I used AI for my assignments. That there is no...
That's even more difficult. That's why I asked is, that's even more difficult to defend. So please continue.
Yes. They were like, no in-text citation, that this is not my assignment. And before I was like, oh, I did my assignment, and my what's it called? My personal tutor was like, okay, show me the assignment. I was like, oh, he actually used one app to check the assignment for me, and in that app, it shows that that assignment is over 49% of AI, 51% of human, which is actually I. It was like, oh, they have another app that they do use to check people's assignments, other than Turnitin. I've used Turnitin. This thing is less than 20%. Let me just submit. Do you get that? So I was like, oh, I'm in trouble. So this day came. They asked me, how did you do your assignment? I was able to explain the assignment. I submitted the papers that I used for the assignment. I explained the assignment. But one thing that I did that actually saved me was that before submitting the assignment, I make sure I submit draft to my lecturer to read. If there will be any correction that they will have to make, I make sure I submit drafts for all my assignments. So I was like, oh, Dr. Claudia, I submitted draft and you made all these corrections. You were like, oh, there are a lot of repetitions. This one is not formal. My language is not formal. I have to rephrase, paraphrase, and I did everything. So why did you now say that I used AI? So the panel was like, oh, after asking me several questions about the assignment, I was able to answer those ones. So the panel was not like, is she saying the truth that she submitted the draft? She said, yes, she submitted the draft. Did you make some correction? She said, yes, she made some correction. This, that. That was those things that I worked on. And I was not like, what is wrong? And they were like, oh, they are very sorry. And later they released my result, and I was able to get 73% for that assessment.
Wow.
So I and my tutor was like, "Oh, you are great. That man is good man. You are great."
Wow. You did not just gain the victory, you even gained it in a very good way.
Yeah.
73 is a wonderful mark to have. And I am really glad for that victory for you.
And the module is even like, it has the highest units, which is 30 units.
Wow.
You must not fail it.
Wow. Just imagine if you and you can also take them to court for discrimination if you sense that someone is already suggesting.
I don't want to. I don't want to.
In Nigeria, we commit everything to God, but
Yeah.
of course, there are processes if you want to make money out of them, but and of course, but that's up to you. So please go ahead, Sister Tolulope.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today, honestly, and hearing. Can I call you Jumoke? Is that your name?
Hello, Jimmy. Are you still there?
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, ma.
Yeah.
You are muted. Tolulope, you are muted, please. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that I was muted. You actually do not know the battle that you have fought and you have won. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a Christian, because I know we have other people on the platform that are not Christians, and I want them to be encouraged as well, because it's not just about your faith. It's about your value. It's about what you carry. You've done a great job. Some people think, oh, you're not good enough for this. Oh, how can she have done this? And they may have tried that. So what I'm saying is, if you have sensed in the process that they have gone through in, detecting or saying that you have done this, and all you can hear is sorry. If you sense in any way whatsoever that you have been discriminated against, speak to your Citizens Advice Bureau. Get advice from your tutor as well. Some of them may play things down. I've lived in this country for many years, and I know how, sometimes the Caucasians treat us or view us, that their view of us. So I'm not putting words in you, and I'm not asking you to do this because you want to make money, but it's also to serve as a precedent for them not to do the same to any other person out there. And you can never tell. You can also start an association of your own, supporting other students going through this situation, and you can help as many people as possible gain their confidence as well. Because I've met with so many students who have challenges and difficulties around plagiarism and this issue with AI. Some are genuine. Some people really need to be, smacked on the hand. But what I'm saying is that there is a message here. Don't lose sight of it. Okay. Don't just sit down on it. There might be more that God wants you to do in the situation. Support others, or make sure that you are not discriminated against. And if you were, please, by all means, get support from the right avenues and take it up. Okay. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Yeah, thank
you. Great. I think I got a message from that as well. And Jumi, we still have more to talk about this. I belong to the race equality advocacy, and that is what we talk about. But we need to first clarify so many things about this. Please, Jumi, if you if you are more than willing, we still. And if the friend of yours also still on the issue of using that incident to pass message across to others, the friend of yours, is she on the call?
No.
Oh, okay, no problem then. So thank you so much, Jumi, for sharing that. And I believe you've been able to pick. That's one of the most difficult things to defend. But there's difference between plagiarism. You can easily defend that if you are sure of it. But AI, that's how do you prove that you didn't use AI? It's a long, and I'm glad you stand your ground, and you stood your ground, and then you are able to overcome that. So talking about academics on there is one of the school of anyway, I won't call him school official. He's a member of the family, and he has been so wonderful to the family. He's the rock behind this association. He's a rock behind this association, and many those who have crossed that border from Africa to this place, especially in ARU, must have had one or two things to do with him, because he's the senior international manager for Africa in the ARU, and he has been a great help to not just the community, but of course others. He was one who gave Atiku Abubakar his admission to come to ARU. Atiku Abubakar is an alumnus of this school. He was the one who gave him his admission, and he was the one who gave him the certificate. Recently, he went to visit him. We've been planning, anyway, the conference we're talking about is part of what we are thinking, but don't let's talk about it yet until it is done. So I would like to, it is my honor to bring in Dr. Nana Adam, a friend, a supporter, and of course, a very good instructor and a very good help in times of need. So over to you, my wonderful brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chairman Andrew. Really appreciate it. And good afternoon, everyone. It's always a pleasure and an honor. I think this is about, correct me, Andrew, this is about the fourth or the fifth of such series we're having.
Fifth, and he has attended every one of them.
Everyone. Yeah. So this is about the fifth one, and this is always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, so I'm of the school of thought that those behind us, or those that are coming, should never go through the challenge, the pain and the struggles we went through. Sometimes I think God makes it possible. An individual goes through particular challenge, so that they show others the way as well. So yeah, thank you very much. And for me, I believe that's why another reason why these sessions are very helpful to all the new arriving students, those that have just joined us for the journey intake. As Andrew did mention, my name is Nana Adom. I'm from the name, as you can tell, I'm a neighbor. Although we're out of the African Cup, but that's okay. We settled the Jollof debate at another time. Today, let's talk serious business. Right. So, jokes aside, originally from Ghana. So, but I've been in this role with ARU for about 7 years now. And as Andrew said, we've witnessed a great transformation. So transformation, as in 7 years ago, there was nothing like ARUNSA. And go through Andrew and a few colleagues put their heads together. And today, it is a very strong community, one of the most respected on campus. Now, for today's business, I want to limit it to five key things I really want to share on my heart, because over the years, I see freshers or new arriving students, fall into this trap. So I just, for today's business, I really want to limit it to avoiding these traps in order to make your stay less of a wahala. So number one, I want to touch base on is, please, with your logging in, you're clocking in. So when you go for lectures, please do make sure given that you're all full-time international students, compliance do monitor your attendance. And how they do it is, the clock in and the clocking out. So it's very, very important that you do clock in and you clock out when you go for lectures. Because as I said, that's the only way that compliance are able to monitor your attendance. So what happens is after a while, if your attendance shows goes beyond a certain percentage, it triggers an alert from the compliance team, and then they will reach out to you, and then so you have a meeting with them. They want to find out, and if so if you have no tangible reasons, it goes into a verbal warning, and then it can lead to the revocation of your car. So in a nutshell, please take that very serious. Don't when you go for lectures, make sure you clock in and then where possible clock out. So that's key number one, or one of the areas I really want all new arriving students to take note. The other area that I really want new arriving students to take note is the area of assignment and deadlines. So by virtue of my role, I've had so many students oftentimes reaching out, oh, I missed my assignment deadline. I wasn't sure. I couldn't submit it by the set deadline. Please do make sure that when you are giving assignments or exams, you've submitted them well in advance. I think I overheard one of our colleagues talk about 1018, right? From the 1018 is not too familiar with systems back home. So a number of us, it might be, it might be a new thing to you. So please make sure that you give yourself enough time. Don't leave it too late. Back home, we are very familiar with leaving things too late, right? So please, I want to encourage every one of us to make sure that you've given yourself enough time. I would say give yourself at least a minimum of a week, and then possibly even give it a trial submission, just to make sure that you've submitted it the right way, right? So you can give it a test trial to make sure that you've submitted your assignment and it's properly been lodged. Oftentimes, like I said, I get so many of these. Oh, I didn't know. I submitted it, but I realized that I didn't complete the submission process. It gets a bit of a hassle once you get into that stage where you've missed the submission deadline. You now have to put through extenuating circumstances, and it can be very messy, right? So you have to go through the faculty examination board. They have to look at your case, and just last week there was a case situation I was dealing with. Student missed the deadline. Oh, she had extenuating circumstances. It wasn't easy, and even for myself.
Hello, Dr. Adam, you are muted. Please unmute yourself.
Sorry. A call came through. So even for myself, it becomes a challenge, because then you put me in a very tight situation, and then students come to you and they expect you to magically, magically. Just bear with me one moment, please. Just a minute. Yes, my apologies. Sorry, my apologies. So, as I was saying, last week, there was a situation I was dealing with, and it places even myself in a very tight situation, because then my hands are a bit tied in that sense. I cannot really do anything. It becomes a faculty exam board issue, and it's very uncomfortable. So please make sure you give yourself enough ample time to submit your assignment, your test, and don't leave it too late. The third thing that I want to also touch base on is oftentimes, by I think we find ourselves in a very privileged position, in that apart from presently with Anglo Ruskin, So I'm talking of international students. Apart from our colleagues from India, Nigeria is the second biggest international students group on campus. So you go India number one, and then number two is Nigeria. Then you got all the others, right? So that therefore means in terms of representation, we are much, the Nigerian student, ARUNSA, Nigerian student community is much valued and respected when it comes to being a voice on campus. Now, a couple of years ago, when this group was started, one of the things that we really wanted to push was to make sure that we were well represented. ARUNSA, Nigerian students were well represented when it comes to opportunities for student representation, student union, faculty course leaders, faculty representations. Oftentimes, we shy away from those opportunities. I'm sure by now you'd have noticed our colleagues from India are very, very, very loud when it comes to those opportunities. So much so that they are not just loud, but they also team up, right? Support each other. It will interest you to note that 5 years ago, up until 5 years ago, the student union, some of you may have noticed it, was all English whites, right? Up until 5 years ago, it was all English whites who were the leads or who were the representatives on the student union. Fast track to 2024, and it's not, I'm not saying this from a position of, from a bad position or a position of bad taste, but I feel we, and if I say we, I mean we as a people, we from Nigeria, we from Africa, we are massively underrepresented, right? In that at present is all colleagues from Asia, India to be specific. And therefore, I want to encourage every one of us, right? Myself, Andrew, other executives are around. If you need any help, please let us know. Recommendations, let us know. But the whole idea is that we need to be voices in our respective faculties. Don't shy away from the opportunities, right? Left to me alone, I would have loved. I'm patiently waiting. And I think, Andrew, this will happen in your time before you finish your PhD, where a Nigerian will become the student union president, right? We are waiting for that day. We're patiently waiting for that day. And we are ready to offer any support, any assistance in that regard. So please, don't shy away from it. Like I said, if you need any recommendation, if we need to support you anyway, please, by all means, reach out. I'm a very nice man, apart from me saying that Ghana Jollof is the best. Yeah, but jokes aside, so yeah, if you need any, but I truly want to see my own, right, being represented. I truly mean this when I say looking forward to the day when a Nigerian will become the student union president of Anglia-Ruskin. We can do it. We can do. We got the numbers. Believe me, we got the numbers. I think presently, if all together, presently top of my head, yeah, presently about give and take about not less than 500 Nigerian students across across 3 campuses, right? Not less than 500 students across. No, 500. No. Sorry, I'm even getting it wrong. Not less than 700 Nigerian students across all 3 campuses in ARU. So we're a sizable group. We're a voice, So if we push ahead for these opportunities, I don't see why we'll not be able to go for it. So opportunities, go for it. Number 4, participate. Oftentimes students come around, you never hear from them, you never see them. It is only when trouble shows up, wahala shows up, that's when you see their faces. So I have this joke I make all the time. There are students who come to see me, right? The last time I spoke to them was when they had their visas in Nigeria. Glory to God, they arrived. Never heard anything from them. Boom, wahala shows up and they're looking for me. Dr. Nana, I need to talk to you, doctor. I'm like, you don't show up for ARUNSA meetings, a global week, you don't show up when we call for meetings, you don't show up. Suddenly when trouble shows up, you know where to find me. I think that's not the way to go about it. So I truly want to encourage every one of us here, including those that couldn't make it today. Please say to them, look, we have meetings on Fridays, right? It is for your own good. It is for the executives. I left to Andrew, Andrew and the executives are well settled. They've been here for a while, so they are well settled. But it's for your sake and for your welfare That is why, right, we are here for you. But it's a two-way thing. We need you to participate and not just being a silent member. Right? Only when trouble shows up, then you know our numbers, you know where to look for us. So please participate. I truly want everyone, when we have Zoom meetings, show up. When we're having discussions, show up. And Andrew and the executives are doing brilliant. I'm sure they would have highlighted to yourselves that several activities in the pipeline, including fun trips. To last year, I was aware there were several fun trips that they had. Although I couldn't join, I was fully aware of the several places that they visited. There were several bonding activities. There were several welfare activities, Nigeria Day, and it's a tremendous way of looking out for each other. So please participate and don't exempt yourself. And then lastly, I want to say, don't die in silence. Now, but don't die in silence. What I mean is, oftentimes, right, I get students who've left it to last minute when there's practically nothing that can be done about it, right? So they are one way, or they had a challenge one way or the other. It could be that, for instance, they were sick, or they had a genuine challenge. You know what I mean? It could be which was impeding the academics, right? Some way, somehow, they kept quiet on it, never said anything, never spoke to anyone. Next thing is, they've either been withdrawn, right, or they've been reported to UKVI. That is when they are panicking. They are looking, they are on your neck. Please help me. At that point, you'd appreciate that my hands are tied. So I see this every now and then. I truly want to encourage you. Please don't die in silence, right? If you have a challenge, if at the onset of the challenge, reach out, speak, talk, right? Don't leave it till it's right at the tail end, and then you are giving all of us a hard time. So please don't die in silence. Andrew and the executives are around. If you want my number, please, Andrew, by all means, share it. I'm on WhatsApp. And any questions, any bit you are not sure about, please do reach out. And like I said, don't die in silence. And I think I also forgot this. Your dissertations, right? For those of us on 1 year masters, it'll come so quick, right? So don't leave it too late. Again, I see students who leave their dissertations till the last minute, and then towards the end they are struggling, they are panicking. Don't leave it too late, right? Start early, especially those of us on 1 year masters. It'll come so quick. The other thing, sorry, so this is the last one. The other thing I want to touch base on is your tuition fees, right? So again, last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was dealing with a situation where a student has left it till very late, unable to pay the remainder of the tuition fees. I've not said anything to anyone. Now she has been expelled and she's all over the place. At that point, you would appreciate, even myself, there are limits and boundaries. So in a nutshell, again, putting under, don't die in silence and don't leave it too late. Talk, reach out if you need help, so that we see, not promising that we can solve every problem, but we'll do our best to see what can be done to support, and if need be, to also come in. So on this note, I don't want to be taking so much of your time. I know you've already had several sessions. I want to say thank you. And I'm through. Happy to take any questions and any suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You've said a lot in few words, and it's a remarkable thing. Like I always say, you don't just say it, you do the talking. And these are people who are always more than willing to be there anytime you reach out to them. So I appreciate. Do we have Kelly on the call? I'm not so sure they are awake from the US right now.
Andrew?
Yes,
yeah,
please.
can I say something to
Please go ahead.
Jimmy, please? Yeah, I think, Jimmy, I really appreciate you coming forward to share your experience. And I think it is very important that you look into that thoroughly. Just like the lady, I didn't catch her name, the lady that said some few words in advice. and her suggestion. If you think that there is any form of discrimination there, I think it is very important that you take it up. And the reason why I said so, and then at the same time, in taking it up, you will create change because it's all about change. And just in case any other person is going through such a situation or about to go through such a situation, we are all humans, and the people on panel are also human. They can make mistakes. And to avoid such drastic and humiliating mistakes to happen again, I think it is better such things are flagged up. I remember last year, and last year was my class rep in my uni, and something came up where normally before there is a report of any situation, if there is something wrong in class or in uni, and before it is taken to the tutors or to the lecturers or to the board, there is a process and there is a procedure that needs to be taken place, whereby the person making any complaint will make that complaint in writing to the class rep, and it is the responsibility of the class rep to take it up to either the student union or to the board. And if if the class rep has not gone through the
Sorry, please unmute yourself. Someone just interrupted us. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay. Yeah, then that complaint is being directed to the right channel. So for some reason or another, being the class rep of that class last year, a student made a complaint against me. Though I wasn't in class on that particular day, which I made my lecturers aware that I will not be in class on the day. And I also made the class aware that I will not be in class on the day. But unfortunately, somebody decided to use that day to make a complaint about some situations, some issues in class, and they didn't even bring it up to my knowledge or to my attention. What they did was to write directly to the board, and they wrote against me. And by the time I resumed the following week, I realized that there was a complaint. And, I didn't take it lightly because it seemed like the board was then taking it up against me. And I went I dug deep into the issue, and I found out that there is a complaint. There was an issue in class, but it wasn't brought to my notice. It wasn't brought to my attention. So definitely, directly, the person intentionally missed that process. There is a process for a reason, and there is a process why there is a process. So it is very important to follow that process. And just to cut the long story short, I decided to take this, I took it up and I fought really hard for it for weeks and weeks. For the whole semester, I fought for that thing. And at the point in time, I decided to say, I don't think this is anything about me anymore. It is about the other class reps in other classes and even the ones that I will be coming behind me. Because at the point in time, they wanted to take me off the class rep and there was a vote. But fortunately, because I've been doing my work well in the past, half of the class voted to take me off and half of the class voted to let me stay to continue the semester at the year as a class rep. So based on the fact that there was no winner, if I put it that way, my class tutor, my class lecturer decided to lead me to finish my term as a class rep. But you know what? I took it up with the students' union, and I said to them, I had meetings and meetings with them, and I said to them, this is no longer about me, because that means that we class rep, we are not being appreciated. We are not being valued. You can ask us to take up a role. We'll take up a role and then we'll do it. And at the same time, you can just kick us out just like that. Do you know the humiliation? Do you know the disgrace, the embarrassment that causes? And it can even go to the extent of creating mental health on anybody if they are not strong enough like myself. And at the end of the day, to cut the long story short, at the end of the day, That was agreed upon, and that brought a change. It brought a policy out because I told them I ran with that policy. I gave them the idea what and what to do, what and what to put in place, just in case there is a situation that arises like that next time. And guess what? That policy is running now in my unit. So if there is a complaint, if the student that has made the complaint has not gone through the right channel, that complaint will not be taken hold against the classroom. Instead, it will be thrown out the window. So I think it is very important, please, if it is very necessary. I know with Nigerians, there is one habit and one behavior that we have. When there is something wrong, we do not sit down and look deep down into it and stand up for yourself and speak. If you need your colleagues to actually back you up in situations, in things that you go through, in situations like that, you need to do it. Back it up, fight for it, because it is not about you at that point in time. It is about change that is necessary to happen for others that are going to be coming behind you. If that position is not palatable, if it is not done properly, I don't think anybody, if nobody else will want to come up and do it. So as Dr. Nana said, we should volunteer, we should speak up, we should, raise our hands to be there, to be present when you are in the university. When I say present, your presence known that you are here, and to make yourself valuable, to give value to where you are at that point in time. So please, if there is any chance that you find out that there is discrimination and it has happened, please take it up. It is not about you making money for yourself. If they offer you money, you can even decline it if that is what the case has come to. But it is about change, not just for you, but about for the other people that are going to be coming behind you. Yeah, I just thought I'll mention that because it is very necessary that we are bold enough to stand up for ourselves and to fight for justice where it is needed.
Thank you for that admonition. Jimmy, you have heard it, please. It is not like I said yesterday when your other friend also has another wonderful experience. I hope I really wish she was here as well. And I told you it's not just about you; it's about every other person. Please, if you're more than willing, we are here to support you and to ensure that things get better for all of us. People don't undergo on experiences that are not their fault. So our time is fast spent. So if there is any question or any comments, please, in the next few minutes, we will have the floor. Any question for all the speakers or any comment concerning what has been spoken, please. And if you are, if there, I've called on Uju and Damo. I'm not so sure they are on the call, but if there are other leaders from other schools on the call, please, you can also add one or two words before we go, before we call it a day. So in the next few minutes, please, we would like to hear from you. In the meantime, please, if you're on the call, please, we would like you to switch on your camera if you can. Let's see the faces behind those camera. We may not be able to ask, we cannot be able to ask everybody to talk, but at least let's switch on our camera to see those faces. And of course, the purpose is, like I said, to network. So when we see, we can always identify, I've seen this face before, and I know it's a Nigerian face. Let's see those wonderful faces behind the camera, please. I will take screenshots of it.
Yeah, Andrew, can I make an appeal?
Okay.
Yeah. I know when I was introducing Mass, I don't know if the pastor is still here.
He has left.
Oh, he has left. Okay.
Any question?
No, I wanted to make like a request,
Okay.
and well, since we are networking, it would be great to actually connect with him, if that
Okay.
is
That's no
possible.
problem.
Yeah, because yeah, with the organization that I run for people with disability and people with brittle bone condition. In March, we are having a wheelchair distribution in Nigeria, where we are giving out over 300 wheelchairs to the community of people with disabilities. And at the same time, I also volunteer for, because I am the West African regional coordinator for people with disabilities for TTR. And at the same time, I also head the team for a team that is called Roof Breakers. And that team is where we connect with ministers. And those ministers, we kind of train them to be able to absorb people with disabilities into their churches. And at the same time, we try to do some kind of connection amongst both ways. So this time around, we are having the wheelchair distribution, and at the same time, we will also be having a team where we are looking to have a team where these people with disabilities will be spiritually ministered to, and just to encourage them, counseling and all that stuff. So I'm in need of 2 or 3 persons or ministers that will be willing to volunteer with us within that time where we are in Nigeria to do that.
Over the phone or virtually or in person?
In person. In person in Nigeria, yes. So I don't know where he is, if he's in Nigeria or he's here in the UK, because
he's here in the UK, but he said he
yeah.
traveled, but I don't know where he has traveled to. But he's there, he resides in London.
So probably he might have some kind of connection in Nigeria that we can connect with.
Of course,
the reason why I wanted to really get to be connected through this medium is because I know a lot of ministers in Nigeria that they are very judgmental, and they put down too much on disability, people with physical challenges and all that, and they demonize it. So that's the reason why I feel like, people from this area, we are well vast and vastly knowledgeable to be able to accept people, the understanding of disability, and they are not discriminating, at
No
least to a
problem.
large
We can talk about that after the call. I will. His number is available and he's more than willing to connect. And of course, he leads a large. I don't want to mention. Anyway, he has even mentioned this, but anyway, we can always. That's no problem. The purpose of it being here is to network, and I believe he's more than available for that. So thank you for that. Do we have any other comments? In the meantime, please let us see your faces. Switch on your camera. Don't shy away from camera. You've been hiding that wonderful face all the time. So if you are able to switch on, please switch on. Let us see those faces. We may not be able to ask everybody to talk. We will just take all our time, but if you have those faces. Lukman, you are there. Is that the more we've been asking you to talk? You just refuse to talk. Okay. And please switch on the camera, everybody. We want to take screenshots, and it would be nice to always recognize it to be sent on the group. So to recognize those faces and remember them when we see them.
Sorry, I'm at work. I can't.
No problem. It's just a voluntary thing. If you are unable to, just leave it. So let me take the screenshot in the next few seconds. Okay. See these wonderful faces that have been hidden by camera. Oh, Thank you so much. If you have any comment or question, please, anyone, just the floor is open for the next few seconds. But in the meantime, we want to appreciate everyone for being on the call. All our speakers, I believe we have everyone has been blessed so much, and all our leaders, starting from my dear governor, Mr. Collins, Dawsa, to all the presidents, Lukman, Ludare, we have many of them, and of course, the NYC Ndila, Madam Tarela, and all our speakers. You will be so blessed. Pastor Layinka, Dr. Adam, Deacon Oludare, and of course, the pastor that left, Pastor Adidaya. We appreciate everyone, and we thank every audience, every member of the audience. Like we always say, without the audience, we just speaking to ourselves. It is the audience that's made those the call to be engaging, and so we appreciate everyone. We believe we pick those things and we will apply them. So if you still need, of course, if you still need help anywhere, as the Dr. Ibrahim said, and you've experienced, all the presidents from all over the UK are connected. So if you need assistance from anyone, anywhere, we are more than open to this. And you can also send an email to us, info at Aglia Nigerian students, and the channels are there as well, and of course the WhatsApp group. If you are more that willing to be part of us. So at this junction, I want to say thank you to everyone, and we wish us all a wonderful day and be a beautiful weekend. And also, are just coming in. They made the grace. So I want Governor Collins to say that grace unto us as we depart.
Thank you so much, and I thank everyone for listening. My fellow Nigerians, we are the executive agent of our destiny. We need to come together and make our nation great again. Nobody will do it for us.
Yes.
So, thank you all for attending this great lecture. I personally, I enjoyed it, and I want such a lecture to repeat again.
Yes.
And I encourage everyone to invite more people. We need to come together. And two, I would like to speak with Ibrahim again. The first guy I asked a question was the president. So please, if there's any way, let him contact me.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And good. Bye.